Video 4, Environmentally Responsible RFX Criteria. Hello and welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. This is our final video in the series. First, we discussed what the guidelines for environmentally responsible procurement are and why they matter. We also talked about the guiding principles behind these guidelines. Then we explored circular economies and how they help support sustainability in procurement. Now, we're going to look at how to apply what we've learned in real-life procurements. There are simple ways to start including environmental responsibility in your procurements. The main way is by including measurable environmental criteria in your RFX. Just a quick note, we use RFX as a catch-all term for all forms of procurement. For example, request for proposals, RFP, and request for quotation, RFQ, etc. The questions you create may be used for a request for proposal, a request for information, a request for quote, or another type. To learn more about different RFX types, please visit the Solicitation and Templates page on the BC Procurement Resources website. Before we look at some examples, here are a few things to keep in mind before starting this work. Environmental impact criteria are desirable, not mandatory in an RFX. Environmental impact criteria need to be included in an RFX if they are to be evaluated as part of the scoring process. If you're using environmental factors as part of your total score, remember this. The combined points for social and environmental impact can be up to 10% without needing legal advice. If it's over 10%, make sure to consult the Legal Services branch. Great! Next, let's look at examples of categories where you can add environmentally responsible criteria to your RFX questions. I'll give an example and a brief explanation. Please read the guidelines for environmentally responsible procurement for more details. We're going to cover these topics. If one is especially relevant to your work, feel free to skip ahead to it in the video. Food and catering, equipment, supplies and packaging, printed materials, travel, location of events, facilities, and waste reduction and disposal. First up, food and catering. If your procurement involves food and catering, you might consider plant-based products. Also, look at sustainable production. Lastly, look at giving preference to locally produced items from BC. Before doing so, you will need to ensure Feed BC program guidance supports the ability to include preference for buying items from BC. An example of an RFX question that considers sustainable production might look like this. Describe the approach and extent to which the food provided in the services will be sustainably produced. List key sources and certifications, example Fairtrade, Oceanwise, etc. Here, we're asking the proponent to explain how they will handle this in the goods or services we're buying. We can also ask them to mention sources and certifications. This helps the vendor understand exactly what we want in their response. Next, let's look at equipment. If your procurement involves equipment used to do work, you can consider low emissions or energy efficiency. Also, consider renewable materials and recyclability when designing your procurement. An RFX question that considers some of these factors may look like the following. Describe any proposed processes that will reduce energy consumption, material use, and emissions in the use of the equipment. This asks proponents to explain how their processes support sustainable practices in the equipment used for work. Moving along to supplies and packaging. If your procurement involves supplies or goods with packaging, think about the following. Consider reusability, repairability, and reducing hazardous materials. An RFX question in this category might look like this. Describe the primary supplies, materials, and/or substances proposed for use, and for each, list any associated environmental attributes. This asks suppliers to explain any environmental considerations for supplies they will use. It helps see which suppliers are offering supplies with more environmental considerations. Next up, we've got printed materials. If your procurement involves printed materials, think about whether they are necessary. If they are, try to use as little paper as possible. You can make considerations for recyclability and sustainable production where possible as well. An RFX question here might look something like this. If using paper-based materials, provide details on how the materials will be sustainably produced. This gives vendors a chance to explain how they make their paper-based products. They can share any environmentally friendly practices they use. Now, let's look at travel. Travel can show up in procurements in different ways. It may be travel to and from work sites. It could be a contractor traveling to an office to perform services, or travel on behalf of the province. The main thing to consider for travel is that it should produce the least emissions possible. Also, look for alternatives when you can. An example of an RFX question that might capture these considerations could be, describe modes of travel the proponent proposes to use and how each will support reducing emissions. Here, you can ask the vendor to explain the travel needed to complete the work. You can also ask how they plan to reduce emissions. Moving on, we'll look at location of events. If a procurement involves hosting an event, you might want to consider the location. Choosing a central location for all attendees cuts down on travel time. Making sure it's accessible by public transportation helps promote environmental responsibility. An RFX question that addresses this might look like the following. Identify the location of the proposed facilities and the attendees' access to and use of nearby public transit, active transportation options, and supports, including any bike facilities, as well as EV charging stations available. This helps you find event locations that are easy to get to. Look for focus on alternative, environmentally friendly transportation options. Here, the vendor can explain which locations they think meet your criteria. Now, let's consider facilities. If your procurement involves facilities to deliver services, you can consider a few things. Choosing facilities that use energy and water-saving methods. Where this is possible and cost-effective, it helps support environmental responsibility. A sample RFX question considering these factors might look like this. Identify any energy and water-saving devices that the facility is equipped with, addressing, but not limited to, items listed in the criteria below. Then, ensure that you list the criteria you're looking for. Some examples could include Energy Star appliances or equivalent, on-demand or solar hot water system, programmable thermostats, and dual flush toilets. Here, proponents can list all the environmentally responsible features their proposed facilities have. You can then evaluate which ones are the most sustainable. Lastly, let's consider waste reduction and disposal. Here, we're looking to focus on waste generated in the performance of the work. We want to reduce waste as much as possible and support environmentally responsible disposal methods. An RFX question to support this criterion could look like this. Describe strategies that will be used to reduce waste, including environmental impacts and disposal practices. This lets proponents explain all the ways they support these criteria. And that's it! While I have not covered every single area of procurement, the examples we've gone through give a good overview. They should help you get a sense of how to create sustainable RFX questions. They also help show how to include environmental responsibility in your procurements. Now you can work on creating your own environmentally responsible RFX questions. As you think about these optional criteria in your own procurements, keep this in mind. A proponent may say their product or service is environmentally friendly or sustainable. They should explain it and provide proof that can be verified by evaluators. Do you want more information on the video topics covered? Please check out the Guidelines for Environmentally Responsible Procurement. They are located on the BC Procurement Resources website. They also include many more sample RFX questions. As always, it is best practice to consult or engage with your ministry procurement specialist for advice or assistance. Also, engage legal counsel as appropriate to get advice on risks that may be present. And a last reminder about the other supports you have available as well. You've now completed the GERP training video series. Please go back and watch any of the videos over again if you want to clarify anything that was mentioned. For the complete and detailed information on these concepts, please consult the full Guidelines for Environmentally Responsible Procurement as you complete your procurement work. Thanks and have a great day.